Hi everyone, my name is Christina Mosier and today I will be presenting social stories to you. My group members Amber Nelms and Olga Rensid also helped put together this lovely PowerPoint. So what are social stories? Well, they were developed and created by Carol Gray in the 1990s. They assist individuals with ASD or autism spectrum disorders to deal with social situations. They're designed to describe a situation, a skill, or behavior in terms of social cues, perspectives, and responses that are appropriate and acceptable within a specific context. They also foster meaningful ways for individuals with autism spectrum disorders to experience different ways of coping and interacting with others. Essentially, social stories are in for the individual to handle situations. They teach them how to handle certain situations appropriately when they're in those situations. So there are many different types of sentences used within social stories. First, we'll start off with talking about descriptive sentences. They are one of the most familiar sentences in a social story. So what they do is explain the questions like who will be there, why, where, and how a situation will occur. So an example of this would be, at school, most people go to the cafeteria for lunch. Then there are perspective sentences. Those enlighten the potential thinking of all individuals involved and are pertinent to the setting. So an example of this would be, many students like to eat their lunch with others. There's also directive sentences, which pinpoint the right behaviors for the child in a particular setting, and it urges them to use those behaviors when they're put in that situation. So an example of this would be, when I eat, I will touch my food. There are also control device sentences. Those sentences are cues that the child finds helpful in a certain setting, just different cues that they can look at while they're in the setting. Affirmative emphasizes sentences emphasize important rules to be remembered. So they're very similar to directive. Cooperative sentences are formulated so that the child can know how others can assist them in a recognized setting. And partial fill-in-the-blank sentences are not always used, but sometimes they are, and they encourage anonymous discerning when facing a certain situation. So to go into some of the research background, Carol Gray, who, as you may remember, invented social stories and created them, did do a study with Joy Nichols in 1993, and that was the first published focus study on autism behavior with social stories. So overall, there are limited studies on individual social stories in practice, but it's still an evidence-based practice. And the reason of this is that